We will be starting Unit 2, Day 3, Deductive Reasoning. What is deductive reasoning? It is the process of reasoning logically and drawing a conclusion from given facts and statements. We're going to start off with our first vocabulary, law of detachment. And with the law of detachment, given a conditional statement, if the hypothesis is true, then the conclusion is true. So here is our symbolic map. What I want you to pay close attention to is the P right here. This P and this P should say the same thing. So we have an if-then statement, and we know that because of the arrow. So law of detachment, some students like to think of it, oh, that's common sense. If the hypothesis is true, then the conclusion is true. But we need to put it to work to be able to see how it works. So in this statement, we are going to check to see if the law of detachment applies. So at the top, I'm going to write down my symbolic map. We have one if-then statement, and then my second statement should just repeat the same P. So I always want to mark it up. So I'm going to use red. Mark earns, saves $30. If Mark earns, saves $30, that's going to be my P. Then my Q, he can buy a new video game. So this says Mark saves $30. Basically, that's a repeat of the first statement. So if that's the case, what's the conclusion? Look back at your map. Here, 3 dots like this stand for therefore. Put that in your notes as well. Therefore. So our symbolic map said if P to Q, and then we have another P, therefore the conclusion is Q. So what's the conclusion here? Mark can buy a new video game. Yay, Mark. And here we go again. Mark can buy a new video game. Here we have a new statement, but we're definitely going to mark it up. For quadrilateral is a rhombus. That's going to be my P. Then it is also a parallelogram. That's going to be my Q. Let's see what this says. Quadrilateral ABCD is a rhombus. So quadrilateral. The one above talks about quadrilateral, and it talks about a rhombus, so it's safe to say this is P. So then, what would my conclusion be? Let's first make sure we have followed our symbolic map. Do I have an if-then statement for P and Q? Check. Number 2, does the second statement just say P? Check. So is this the law of detachment? Check. Therefore, my conclusion is Q. And what would that be? Voila, the conclusion, a quadrilateral ABCD is a parallelogram. This was our Q. So basically, we're just being specific. This quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Law of detachment, folks. Alrighty, here we go. This says if you are 18 years old, I'm going to give that a P. You can register to vote. Q. Looking at this says, oh, Olivia is not 18, so I'm going to have to negate my P. So let's go through our symbolic map. Number 1, do I have an if-then statement with a P and a Q? Check. All right, is my P, do I have a P in my second statement? No, I have a negation of P. So does this follow the law of detachment? No, it does not. So there is no valid conclusion. No valid conclusion. This does not follow the law of detachment. Again, no valid conclusion. All right, so we have another logical statement. It's called the law of syllogism. Now, the law of syllogism allows you to draw a conclusion from 2 conditional statements, in which the conclusion of the first statement is the hypothesis of the second statement. So take a look at your symbolic map. It goes PQ, and then QR. So what I like for you to do is just pay attention that this Q and this Q, they're the same. So what happens when they are the same? Your conclusion is P to R. So the best way to figure it out is to try it. How do we approach these problems? We approach these problems by marking our P's and our Q's. It is Saturday. You get a P. Jake has a basketball tournament, gets a Q. Jake has a basketball tournament, gets a Q. Then he will need to pack his lunch. So that's not P, that's not Q. It gets its own letter, it's R. Well, I have two conditional statements, so law of detachment is out. I'm going to write my symbolic map for the law syllogism. It says P goes to Q. Number 2, Q goes to R. Number 3, P goes to R. This is my conclusion right here. So let's see. Check 1. Do I have a P going to Q? Yes. The next statement, do I have a Q going to R? Yes. So then I have a conclusion, which is P to R. So all I need to do is write that down. So when I write it down, I will be writing, check it out. If it is Saturday, then Jake will need to pack his lunch. So remember, I had P, Q, Q to R. As soon as I find out that the Q's say the same thing, I can pretty much mark those out. And then look what my statement is. If it is Saturday, then he will need to pack his lunch. All right, let's take a look at this. A number is divisible by 12. We'll give it a P. It is divisible by 6. Q. If a number is divisible by 6, does that repeat any of these statements? Yes. So it's a Q. Then it is divisible by 3, which is an R. My question to you, do I have a Q that matches up with a Q? So let's write our symbolic map. 1, do I have a P that goes to Q? Check. Number 2, do I have a Q that goes to R? Check. Therefore, what is my conclusion? That P goes to R. So how would I write that? Go ahead and fill it in. There we go. If a number is divisible by 12, then it is divisible by 3. All right, let's check this out. If it is sunny this weekend, give me a P. Then you will go boating. Give me a Q. If it is sunny this weekend, wait a minute. If it's sunny this weekend, what letter does that get? Oh, it gets a P. Then you will wear shorts. That gets an R. So this looks like the law syllogism. So I need to check it. Number 1, do I have a P that goes to Q? Check. Number 2, do I have a Q that goes to R in my second statement? No, I don't. Is this the law syllogism? The answer is no, and there is no valid conclusion. See how marking your statements help a lot? All right, we're going to get you to pause the video and see if you can mark this up and see what your valid conclusion is. Or if there isn't one, state so. Pause and let's see. Okay, so if you shop at Target, okay, that's a P. Then you will use your Target red card. So that's my Q. My second statement is, you do not use your Target red card. So that's negating Q. And then you will not get your 5% off. That's R. So the first one checks out, but the second one doesn't. Therefore, it is no valid conclusion. Okay, for this one, the directions say to determine whether the conclusion follows the law of detachment or the law of syllogism. So I'm going to do law of detachment versus law of syllogism. I'm going to write out my maps, my symbolic maps. This is a P to Q and a P. Therefore, my conclusion is Q. I need this in the first statement and this in the second statement. Now, let's take a look at the law of syllogism. My first statement, I need P to Q. My second statement, I need Q to R. And then my therefore is going to be P to R. All right, so let's take a look at this first one. First thing I want to do is I just want to mark it up. If I drive over the speed limit, give it a P, then I will get a ticket. Let's give it a Q. This one, I drove over the speed limit. P, Q, P. This is looking like the law of detachment. So let me see if it follows my map, symbolic map. P to Q. Well, this is a Q, by the way, looking like an A. P to Q. P. Awesome. This follows the law of detachment. And what do you think the conclusion is? I got a ticket. Yes. Which law? Law of detachment. Let's try this one. We're going to start off by writing law of detachment and law of syllogism. This is good practice. If it follows the law of detachment, I should have P to Q, one if-then statement. Number two, just a statement that confirms P, and therefore my conclusion will just be Q. That's my conclusion. For the law of syllogism, I should have P to Q, if-then statement, another if-then statement that's Q to R, and then my conclusion will be therefore P should go to R. So first step, let's mark it up. Amanda goes to the restaurant, P. She will order a hamburger, Q. She orders a hamburger, sounds like Q to me. She will get fries, R. So I have my law of syllogism, I have my P to Q, my Q to R. So now what is my conclusion? My conclusion should be, if Amanda goes to the restaurant, she will get fries. Let's check it out. Is that what this says? If Amanda goes to the restaurant, she will get fries. Yes, valid conclusion. What law is it? It is the LOS, law of syllogism. Okay, you pause and you check out this one. And when you are done, you need to show it to your teacher. Thank you for joining.